Greetings, my fellow Fright Fiends. It's your buddy BoogeyMan Ben here for a new episode of BoogeyMan Ben's Horror Zone, and this is a Jeepers Creepers related topic that I want to talk about. Of course, the Jeepers Creepers franchise, as I mentioned in previous videos, is one of my favorite horror film franchises of all time. It's been a very sporadic franchise, to say the least. I mean, of course, we got the original film in 2001. The sequel in 2003. And then part 3, with all of the issues surrounding it between Victor Salva's past, controversy of where they were going to be shooting, it changes to the script from the original script, which was going to be called Cathedral, to what we eventually got with Jeepers Creepers 3. It would take 14 years to get a sequel. I have all 3 films. I love all 3 films. It's such a great character in the Creeper, and I love the mythology around him, that he's only around for 23 days every 23 years. He feeds on people. He uses their fear to see what he wants off of them. I really just love that whole explanation and everything that Victor Salva created. Despite his past, I think he's a great writer. He created a really fantastic movie monster, something that we hadn't seen in a long time, especially in 2001 when you were just coming off of the Scream franchise, where everything was going back to the serial killers, those style of movies from the 1980s. And it was just at the time when horror movies were going to start being remade heavily, especially going into 2003 with the Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake. And news on Jeepers Creepers 4 has really cooled since the third film premiered in limited release late last year. Now, I said in my review of Jeepers Creepers 3, when I went to the premiere of it, which was at a theater close to where I live, there were producers and location scouts for the film. They spoke to me. That Jeepers Creepers 4 was coming out. They didn't give me specifics on when, and they also said that there was a television series that they were trying to get going with the Sci-Fi Channel. So that's why when Jeepers Creepers initially made its television premiere last year, it was on the Sci-Fi Network, so it kind of fell in line with what I was told a few weeks earlier. Now, I think fans like myself and many others who, I know that they're few and far between, but there are people that did enjoy Jeepers Creepers 3. No, it wasn't the film that I wanted. I will put that out right there right now, and I've talked about it in many videos in the past. I wanted Cathedral. In fact, this poster that I got from House of Mysterious Secrets, and I don't know if this was a fan-made image, but originally, Jeepers Creepers 3 was supposed to be called Cathedral. It was supposed to feature Ray Wise. It was supposed to feature Gina Phillips. It was going to pick up directly after Jeepers Creepers 2, with the creature waking up 23 years after his assault on the kids on the school bus. Yes, I wanted Cathedral. That's the movie I wanted. We didn't get it. And I think a lot of it had to do with, like we've talked about before and what's been in the news before, is Victor Salva's past, a very aggressive script, overly aggressive budget most likely, and he couldn't get funding for it. So that's why when they initially greenlit Jeepers Creepers 3 in 2015, the script was different. It was a different script. It was bringing back characters from the first film, like the character of Sergeant Tubbs. And it was going to be picking up in between Jeepers Creepers 1 and 2. So it was like a prequel to 2 and a sequel to 1. But I understood why they did that, because they had a very small budget. I believe Jeepers Creepers 3 had a $2 million budget as opposed to the $10 million budget for the original and the $17 million budget for the sequel. So he was working with a very, very limited budget, couldn't do a lot of the effects that he wanted to do, and most likely that's why they had to change the script. And even with Jeepers Creepers 3, the effects were not as polished as we had seen in the other films. Granted, they did have similar look to some of the ones in the other films, despite the criticism from some people. If you look at but they did look like CGI that was done in the early 2000s as opposed to now. But it didn't bother me. I think it just didn't bother me because one thing you can't say enough great things about is Jonathan Breck, who plays the Creeper in all 3 films. He's a very underrated actor and a very underrated performance as this main character, and I think he should get much more notoriety for it than he does. Fans are owed Jeepers Creepers 4. We've been very patient with this whole franchise and all of the controversy surrounding the director. And I've already said my piece on Victor Salva, so I won't go into it. Right now I'm talking about these films and this series and why we are at least owed one more film. I don't want a remake. I want the sequel to Part 2. I want to see what happens in Taggart's barn when the Creeper wakes up. That's where I wanted to start, and that is what we were promised, and that is what Cathedral was supposed to be. So for Jeepers Creepers 4, I hope that that is what they are doing. I don't know. I've heard rumors that it's just going to be a direct-to-video release. I think Netflix would be the best way to go. You look at movies like Bright with Will Smith, where that normally would have been a theatrical release, but because the director didn't want to deal with all the shit that he got when he was making Suicide Squad, he decided that he would go with Netflix. They gave him the money up front, said make your movie, put it out, and it was a success. They're already making a sequel. So I think that's what should be the route that they go. People want to see this film. Whether or not Victor Salva will be involved, I have no idea, and maybe that's what the holdup is. He's always going to have to retain rights to it, though, because he created the character, but maybe they're looking at different directors. I still think there was a whole plan in place when they put Jeepers Creepers 3 out as fast as they did. That movie was not supposed to come out the way that it did. They were still working on it as of April, I believe, of last year. And then all of a sudden it was going to be released in a few months. So that means that they had to do post-production very quickly, and that's why the effects look like they did. They were unfinished effects when we initially saw it, the people that did go to see it in the theaters. I think they did that to bring the Creeper back from the dead. The Creeper had been a dormant film character for almost 2 decades. They had to do something to get it out there when the time was right, and I think they did, because as much as people, there are like a large group of people that hated Jeepers Creepers 3 because it didn't answer any questions, it proposed more questions. They didn't like Victor Salva's past. A lot of people weren't aware of it when the first 2 films came out. For me, I just wanted to see a good monster movie, and that's why I love Jeepers Creepers 3 so much, and I think Jonathan Breck was fantastic in it. Yes, the film has a few issues, but I chalk those up to budgetary. But at the end of the day, we are owed a 4th film. People that have stuck with this franchise and love the Creeper. And we want to see Trish and Taggart go head-to-head with the Creeper in one more film. And I hope that that is what they are doing. I mean, I really want to see the 4th film. I hope that that is the script they are working with. Whether Salva will be involved, maybe they're getting a different director, but the script is done, and I know that they already had a table read for it probably 10 years ago. It's been done for a long time. So hopefully Jeepers Creepers 3, despite all the haters, was a success. I mean, it made $2 million in one night, which is insane. It did probably do well on video and DVD, and it's been viewed on Netflix, it's been on the Sci-Fi Channel, so they are making money off of it. So I think that that's what the whole plan was, to get the revenue that way, to put it back into the 4th film. So I'm curious, what do other people think about the Jeepers Creepers franchise? Please let me know down in the comment section below, and please no nastiness. Like I said, I know what Victor Salva has done, and like I said, I've addressed it in a previous video. I don't want to talk about it anymore. I'm talking now about the film series. So if everyone can have an adult conversation, share their thoughts with me about the Jeepers Creepers franchise, I'd really appreciate it. Really like to know what you guys would like to see in a sequel to the 2nd film, if you would like to see what Cathedral was supposed to be. I just want to hear everyone's thoughts about this, and I really want to thank everyone for taking the time to watch this video. And please stay tuned for my tribute to the amazing Jonathan Breck in an upcoming video. I hope everyone looks forward to that, and I hope everyone has a great evening. Thanks so much for watching. Take it easy. Stay scared as always.